What's good, everyone? You guys may be wondering, what am I wearing? I am a pickle. I love it. I have to wear this for a club, and I thought it would be funny to wear it for a little while I begin the stream. So, how you guys doing? Greetings, my young Padawan. What's up, Republic Rebellion? Thank you for tuning in. Hello there, my little green friend. Sand-loving friends. Pickle Rick. That's me. How's everyone doing? Thank you for tuning in. He turned himself into a pickle. I literally did. It's actually quite hot in here, so I'll probably take this off in a bit. I have several questions. I have to wear this for a club for like the next week. So I thought it would be funny if I wore it for a brief sec. Funniest shit I've seen. I take that as a compliment. Thank you. Thank you very much. He's really in a pickle now. I am. I honestly am. I'm literally inside a pickle. This thing's really funny. Although I feel like every time it covers my face. How's everyone doing? Ryan Woltman says, Jedi Master Pickle Rick. That is me. Ray619 Ray, the gold pickle. Yes, that is me. Hello there, and nice outfit. Thank you. I am unfortunately going to take this off because it is very hot. Actually, let me read this first. When I saw Kuvira for the first time, Legend of Korra, I thought she was a male. Why? She has a woman's voice. Poor Kuvira. All right. Take this off. Sorry, Pickle. Pickle has to leave. Yes, the memes will be coming. All 20 of you got to experience the pickle jokes before I took it off. MKQ, Matthew Kelly level question. What are your thoughts on metal straws? I don't know, seems a little useless. I guess it's better than I really was just about to say pickle. Plastic straws. Because plastic straws kill turtles. Hello, Goldman the Pickle. What's good? Sorry. How's everyone doing? I'm going to get into the topic of a video in a sec. I'm just going to sit here. Actually, I'm going to tweet out if anyone that I talk to on Twitter wants to chat and join me. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, I do have some things I want to say about Twitter in a bit. VeggieTales, yes. Thank you. Because last night I was asking people in my club, I was like, what's that cartoon with the vegetable and the one guy's a pickle? And then he mentioned SpongeBob, you know, the guy with the crown. So that was funny. But yes, it was VeggieTales. That's what I was thinking of. Pickle Goldman isn't real. He can't hurt you. Pickle Goldman. Yes. I love it. I'm watching the stream to make the next 15 minutes of work go faster. You should be focusing on your work, but I appreciate you wanting to tune in to check out my stream. Goldman, a people of the pickle betrayed and murdered him. Yeah. Do you think Ray will have a cameo in Rogue Squadron? We'll get into that in a bit. All right, we have enough people here. I'll wait another minute and a half before I get into the topic of this video. How do the sequels tie into the future of Star Wars? Bah, bah, bah. Wow, that was quite an intro, seeing Goldman in a pickle suit. Maybe I'll put it on later if you guys are nice to me. If only if you guys are nice to me. This is my first stream in a while. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to try and make my stream time 7 Eastern every day, or close to every day, and around 7 Eastern. So if you can make free time around then, that's when it would work. Welcome me to the Goldman Streams Presents. I was intro to your channel by Katina Ahsoka on Instagram. I don't know who that is. And I do not have Instagram because I recently got rid of my personal account because Instagram is toxic. But interesting. Thank you for Katina Ahsoka for shouting me out. Hey, is that another gonk I see? Oh, God. More gonks. Elijah Neal, thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. You should use the suit for April Fool's video. You looked very... Unfortunately, I'll have to give it back in the coming days. And I do not plan on ordering a pickle suit for myself. I really hope so. I'm not getting my hopes up. Oh, that's right. Star Wars Instagram is the worst. I never followed any Star Wars accounts. When I was on Instagram, I would only follow my friends. I might be making an actual Instagram account for my channel. Because, you know, I had a personal account with my real name. that I got rid of because Instagram is toxic. I feel like a lot of people there, they just want to post pictures, to make other people, to make themselves seem like cooler and happier than they really are. And I feel like it's all fake. Can you please bring Claude to the front and give him the respect he deserves? No. How about this? I will move it a little. I will move him a little over to the side. There we go. All right, it is about 5 minutes in. Let's talk about the topic of this video. How do the sequels tie into the future of Star Wars? Bam, bam, bam. Greetings, gamers. What's up, Caleb? So I've been doing thinking. We obviously know. Let's just establish the facts. The sequels are not getting retconned. That is a fact. They will be here to stay, but we are unsure since the Rise of Skywalker came out. There hasn't been any sequel content of any kind. There was the holiday special, sure, which I loved, but it wasn't canon. And then I think we got a Poe Dameron book, and that was it. I believe that's literally all we have right now in terms of sequel content post the Rise of Skywalker. When is the next meme review coming out? I don't know. I'm gonna post on Twitter. No, I won't. There's actually something. Remind me at the end of the video. I want to say something about Twitter. The sequels will always be canon, of course. So, do I think the Disney / Lucasfilm is neglecting the sequels? In a sense, for the time being, I think they want to wait a little bit for things to die down, because I feel like a lot of these movies, unless movies are universally hated, they usually age fairly well. Like if you look at Batman v Superman, when it came out, it was widely panned, but with the resurgence of Justice League, it made a lot more people appreciate it. So I think in time the sequels will age well, and then that's when Lucasfilm will be more comfortable with expanding on it. Because when Disney first bought Lucasfilm, they made almost no prequel content, and then once the prequel resurgence came, that's when they started doing more prequel stuff. We've gotten more sequel comics and toys. Have we gotten the comics though? I know we've gotten a lot of toys. I don't really count toys. That's not really content to me. Content are like stories. So here's what I think they're gonna do. Obviously, I think they're gonna tie the Mandalorian era somewhat into the events of the sequels in terms of the First Order. I don't think we're not gonna see Rey. I would be shocked if we even see a younger Ben Solo. I don't think that's gonna happen. True. Oh, sorry. Vader goes to exile in the comic. That is true. They're tying in. It takes place during the original trilogy, but they're tying into elements of the sequel. So that is a good point. Yes. Yes, no, you're right. They went to Exegol, or he went to Exegol. That is a tie-in. And I like that. I like how they're using the comics to make everything feel more connected. It was like there's this one Darth Maul comic I read where he fought Rathtars. It was like a little prequel to sequel connection, which we don't get very often, which I appreciated. God, I feel congested right now. Let me mute my mic so I can make a really gross sound. I'm back. I do think they'll tie in the sequels. Because the big thing is, we don't really know what the state of the Empire is right now after season 2 of Mandalorian. We know Thrawn's around, but Thrawn, when we looked at those pictures of, because let me pull up. I'm gonna pull up a picture here. What is it? What's Thrawn's people? Because I saw Eckhart's Ladder made a video on this, where if you look at the people in episode 5 or chapter 12, 13, the one with Ahsoka, the episode with Ahsoka, those guards, they had Thrawn's like symbol on their head. Thrawn's spelled Thrawn people. Thrawn's Legion Mandalorian. Not the Chiss. Not the Chiss. Not the Chiss. Let's see if I can find a picture. It was in the episode. It wasn't very obvious, but like Thrawn had this symbol. I don't remember what it was. No, not the chest. Thrawn's Legion, not the Grisk. I can't find it. Was it the Chimera? I mean, I know the Chimera is his ship. 7th Fleet symbol. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Isaac. Nice survivor profile pic, by the way. Thrawn, what is it? The 7th Fleet symbol? Thrawn's 7th Fleet insignia. Yes, here. All right, let me share my screen. Share. Oh, this is gonna go bad. Share screen. Chrome tab. Here we go. The formatting is poo-poo. I gotta do this quick. There we go. All right. So yeah, this thing. Like, this is the symbol, and then if you look on this robot's head, you can see the symbol. And I really don't like how the background isn't. There we go. You can see it on his head. We don't know. Is this the Empire? Is this part of the Empire? Is it part of the Imperial Fleet? Maybe someone could explain that to me. So let me go back. 7th Fleet. Imperial Navy during the reign of the Galactic Empire. Okay, so it is. But I wonder why there weren't any stormtroopers. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is... I need my banner. The point I was trying to make is that we don't really know how involved Thrawn is with the Empire we saw in The Mandalorian, right? Because we saw there's Moff Gideon. Is Moff Gideon working for Thrawn? Does Moff Gideon want Grogu's blood because he wants to give it to Thrawn and Thrawn wants to clone something? Maybe. I always had the theory that there was a recent comic in between 8 and 9 where Kylo blew up a planet. Why was this not in the movies? That's not too important. What was my train of thought? Why does Thrawn need Grogu's blood to clone? We know he's trying to clone something. One thought I had is that are they leading into a reboot of the Heir to the Empire story? Because they did clone people in Heir to the Empire. They had Joris like Kaboeth or something. I forgot his last name. It was a weird one. And then there was the Luke with 2 U's. Maybe they're going to do some kind of cloning with that. Maybe they'll bring back. Part of me wants to believe that the whole like cloning thing is going to tie into Palpatine, but my gut just tells me that's not going to happen. I just feel like they're not. The Palpatine thing was not a popular aspect of the sequels, and I feel like they're going to try and back away from that for the future. I would love to be wrong though. I don't think it's going to be Palpatine. Michael Fassbender would have made a great Thrawn. Oh, he could still be a Thrawn. We don't know who Thrawn's going to be. Luke, best name ever. That was so stupid. Why do people want a George Lucas sequel cut? Because they hate the sequels and they think George Lucas's sequels would have been better. So yeah, I think in that respect, I really don't think it's going to tie into Palpatine. I want it to. Maybe it ties into Snoke, but if it ties into Snoke, then in a sense it's tying into Palpatine, right? But they definitely they're setting up events of the First Order. Like, that's a big thing for them, and I don't think that this era of the Mandalorian is going to end like within the same year. I really think that it's going to progress into like close to the events of the sequels, so they could really flesh out the First Order. I think that's what's going to happen, and maybe they could flesh out the Resistance, because to a lot of people they don't understand what the Resistance is or why it exists. Right? If there's a Republic, why does there need to be a Resistance? And I think that's their plan. I think what the best stories do is they tell their own contained stories, but they also flesh out other aspects of the universe. And I think The Mandalorian is doing that so far. So does anyone have any ideas? Carl Weathers confirmed it was Snoke in season 2. I did not see that. I would need to... I think you should double check your source. Hello, I'm Disco Mando, by the way. Thank you, Babu freaking Weirdo. What are your thoughts on Leia being the chosen one in George Lucas' sequels? I don't like the chosen one prophecy anyway. So no, I would hate it. Also, Anakin's the chosen one. Hypothetically, if George Lucas ever made a return to Star Wars, would you want him to work on a show, a movie, or a trilogy? Probably a show. I wouldn't want him to do a trilogy because he probably would be dead by the time he finished it, unless he like wrote all the scripts beforehand. And George Lucas is not a good director. Like, I'm sorry to the Lucas purists, he can tell a great story. He's not that good of a director. So if you're to write it with someone else and have a competent director direct it, then maybe a movie would be. I wouldn't mind if he actually wrote and directed a movie. Because if it's just a standalone movie, then I wouldn't be as upset. But a trilogy, I feel like if you want to tell a trilogy, it's gonna have to be something a bit bigger in scale, And that brings us into Rogue Squadron. I'll get to that in a sec. I just want to see the First Order slowly rise throughout the Mandalorian. It would be epic. Yeah, but I'm not sure. That's the thing. I'm not sure if it's gonna go in that direction, because it looks like the direction they're going with the story of the Mandalorian. Now, I could be wrong in terms of the other shows, like Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka and Boba Fett. But it seems like the story of the Mandalorian is going to go to Mandalore and Din Djarin trying to take back Mandalore with Bo-Katan. In some sense, they have to fight because of the Darksaber, and there's all that. And I'm not sure, does that tie into the Empire? Because correct me if I'm wrong. This is post Return of the Jedi. Why would the Empire still be in charge of Mandalore? And if they were, why wouldn't the New Republic do anything about it? I feel like the New Republic would be trying to get rid of the Empire at all costs, unless I don't know the terms. I need some more lore purists in terms of the specifics of the Galactic Concordance. Yeah, Lucas is directing the prequels was pretty bad, mainly in episodes 2 and 3. I should have just written the stories and had someone else direct it, like the OT. Yeah, I mean, he directed episode 4, but you might want to. Yeah, I'd say. I mean, he's directing episode 3 is still not the best. It's just the acting is a little better. The only thing I'm hoping they will do in the future is give a wider context to how big the First Order / Resistance conflict was. That's a good point because the thing about the conflict is that the Rise of Skywalker takes place a year after The Force Awakens. So does that mean that whole war took place over 1 year? I don't know. I mean, also the First Order is so large. Like we saw in Battlefront 2 how big the First Order fleet is. It is huge. It is huge. And we saw a little bit of that in Last Jedi. And that was another thing that was established, is that after, and this was actually the only good piece of world building that Star Wars Resistance did, that the First Order wanted to take hold of like important stations, of important places. So then when the Starkiller Base event happened, then they could be ready to hold like, the important like stations and stuff like that. The first, at the time of the Rise of Skywalker, before the Rise of Skywalker, the First Order has a strong grasp on the galaxy, but it doesn't have complete control. It's not like the Empire. That means there probably are pockets of rebellion elsewhere, which is probably likely, which I actually would like to see more of that. I think they could do a lot more, not necessarily with the First Order resistance conflict, but just with the First Order against everyone else. And then after the Rise of Skywalker, the rest of the galaxy rises up. And then I think at that point, maybe there could be an actual better war, in a sense, where you have the First Order, remnants of the First Order, versus the rest of the galaxy. I feel like I would be a little disappointed if the conflict of the First Order was just completely done after the Rise of Skywalker. I just think that would be a waste of lore, and then they can do a lot more with the wars and then the aftermath and Rey struggling with war, because Rey really didn't do much. I mean, she killed Palpatine, but besides that, killing Palpatine was a very big thing. The treaty said that the Imperial remnant was reduced to a small territory and forced them to stop training stormtroopers, but the military and generals ignored the treaty and became warlords. Yeah, but so does that mean, did some of those warlords have control of Mandalore? I guess that's what we'll find out. That's just what the thing is. I feel like none of these are plot holes. They're going to be explained well. It was like the why Mando had to keep his helmet on after season 1 that was inconsistent with other Mandalorians, but then they explained that he was part of Death Watch, or a subset of Death Watch. Oh, here's a good question. What would you think if we got First Order Inquisitors? I don't think that would make sense, and here's why. The Inquisitorius and with the Imperials was established to hunt down remaining Jedi. That's what we see in Rebels. That's what you definitely see in the comics, and that's what you see in Fallen Order, right? The Inquisitors, their goal is to find living Jedi after Order 66, and they were all essentially servants of Vader. I just don't know if between episodes 8 and 9, Kylo Ren has the time to establish his own Inquisitorius. I think that's the plural, or the group, his own Inquisitor group, whatever. To hunt down who? Rey? Other Jedi that are left? Maybe there are other Jedi. Maybe Kylo Ren wants to hunt down the other Jedi that survived his academy. We don't know. So that's not an awful question. I would say no. I don't think there would be Inquisitors for the First Order, because in the sense they would have to serve Kylo Ren. The Knights of Ren are basically the First Order Inquisitors. That's true. I mean, they're useless. Maybe do more with them. Yeah, I don't think so. But if anything, maybe they can do more with the Knights of Ren. But I think the point is, after the Rise of Skywalker, what's the big threat? Maybe the next big threat doesn't have to be a Force-sensitive person. And then we could talk about potential future stories. Stuff like that. What if Claude was an Inquisitor turned to good? Oh, that'd be a little silly, wouldn't it? All right. I disagree. I think Mando will lead into Palpatine. Dave Filoni is known for doubling down on unpopular ideas from trilogies and making them cooler. IMO it'll lead into the origins of the First Order. I definitely think it will lead into the origins of the First Order in a sense, but you got to keep in mind that the First Order didn't know about Palpatine. Palpatine created Snoke, and Snoke led the First Order. But we don't know, like, Palpatine didn't create the remnant of the Empire, right? They were existing, and then somehow Palpatine got involved, or Snoke got involved. So I think what the show is going to do is going to tie into that aspect of the First Order, like the Imperials that survived, like potentially Grand Admiral Ray Sloane, and aspects like that, because if you do read the Aftermath trilogy, it ended with them finding the Eclipse, which is Palpatine's Super Star Destroyer. So aspects of that, I think they're going to tie into that. I'm not sure if they're going to tie into Palpatine. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I would love for them to tie into Palpatine and Snoke, but I don't want it to be too heavy. I want it to be really subtle. So yeah, that's why. And also, you say Dave Filoni is known for doubling down on unpopular ideas. I mean, he got hired to make a show set during the prequel era. So in a sense, he kind of had to double down on those ideas. And also, he was working with George Lucas. With The Mandalorian, he's not working within the era of the sequels. Granted, there's already been some tie-ins. I mean, the fact that there's pockets of the Republic that are concerned about the remnants of the First Order, that's already a sequel tie-in, regardless. I just don't know if he'll tie into Palpatine. And I don't think, like, they could go the rest of the sequel. They could go the rest of the Mandalorian story and in like 3 years chronologically and not really have it tie in with the sequels. But I hope they do. I hope I'm wrong. Goldman should say make Claude trilogy 10,000 times. I would never do that. If I'm going to do something 10,000 times, it's something that I would actually like really want to happen. I think it could potentially spawn a movement. Like continue Rey's story, for example. Well, they already did this. Do I like Batman? Yeah. Why can't Dave make a post Rise of Skywalker show? I think Dave's done with animation. I really do. He's not really active on the Bad Batch. He was like the head producer, but I think Dave Filoni has proven himself with Clone Wars and Rebels and the success of season 7 of the Clone Wars that Lucasfilm is ready, especially with the success of the Mandalorian, that Lucasfilm is potentially ready to give Dave Filoni his own show, and that's what it appears the Ahsoka show is going to be. I feel like there's the 4 Mandalorian shows. They'll call it the Mandalorian era. The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Rangers of the New Republic, and the Book of Boba Fett. Like, Dave Filoni and Favreau are in charge of, like, they're overseeing that whole thing. I think Favreau is going to be more involved with the Mandalorian. Filoni's going to be more involved with the Ahsoka show, and then those other 2 shows, we don't know who will be in charge of. No, he can't be done with animations because he's moving on to live action. I think he's graduated. I think he's ready to move on. I don't think you're going to see Dave Filoni go full time on an animated show anymore. I don't think it's going to happen. Why would he want to go? That's a step backwards for him in his career. I don't think he's going to do that. I hope they do retcon Luke's Academy for what I've seen in The Rise of Kylo Ren. I want Luke's Order to be much larger in scale. You don't want it too large in scale because at the point of the sequels, then you need to have most of them gone or in hiding. So I don't mind. I don't think they should retcon that comic. I think Dave will continue animation. I think he may continue in a sense where he will oversee some of it, like with the Bad Batch, but he's not going to be hands-on. Like, he directed the Clone Wars. He was very hands-on with the Clone Wars, and he was very hands-on with Rebels. I don't see him being as hands-on with any of these future shows. I don't think it's going to happen. I do want to get to Rogue Squadron in a sec, because I do think that's something that a lot of people are going to underestimate. The First Order during Mando is trying to survive in the unknown regions. They have no real ties to the remnants in the known galaxy. We don't know that, though. We don't know that entirely. I feel like we don't know that entirely because they could definitely play loosey-goosey with what the First Order knew and what this Imperial Remnant knew. Are they the same thing? They might be. I would be a little disappointed if this Imperial Remnant was completely eradicated and like had no ties to the First Order. I think that would be a big wasted opportunity. Do you think Ahsoka will die before the sequel trilogy? I have no clue. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Are you going to watch a droid story? Of course. I don't really care for it, though. Isn't Dave Filoni working on the Ahsoka show? Yeah. So that's kind of where his priorities will be. And then I don't know how long that's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a one-season show. I'm not sure. I wouldn't be opposed if it was longer. But what we do know is that those 4 shows, the Book of Boba Fett, Rangers of the New Republic, The Mandalorian, and Ahsoka, they're going to tie into something. And what that something is, I think, if I had to put money on it, I think it's going to be some sort of reboot of Heir to the Empire. Might not be with Han, Luke, and Leia. Well, I wouldn't mind, but they would have to recast them. I'm not doing CGI stuff. Here's a good question. What exactly happened to Ray Sloan? We don't know. We don't know. So yeah, I really don't think I think they're gonna tie into the sequels in some sense. I just don't think it's gonna tie into Palpatine. I think Grogu with Grogu being Luke soon, this might be set up for Ben Grogu narrative ending up in an epic emotional duel between the two. Unlikely because at that point Grogu is gonna be like 10 human years, like 100, like 80 regular years. I don't think he's gonna be ready to be a Jedi. I think they're setting up Grogu. The thing with Baby Yoda / Grogu is that was such a smart thing because he can be the future of Star Wars. Like if they raise a human being, so she has to die at some point, they can't just discard Rey. I'm sorry. If they're ever going to go post Rise of Skywalker, she has to be a focal point. She's the last Jedi in a sense. Then her and Finn, and then maybe she could definitely potentially work with Grogu more. So the big thing is that I think there's going to be some Jedi from the Luke's Academy that's arrived, and here's why I think that. For one, we don't know exactly. We don't know what happened to everyone at Luke's Academy. We don't know who else he's spoken to. And say you're a rogue Jedi from Luke's Academy. Ben Solo turned on you, and you're just wandering about. Then the Starkiller incident happens. The First Order takes over. What are you going to do? It's not like you can just go call up the Resistance and say, well, hey, what's up? The Resistance is in hiding. It's probably pretty hard to recruit them. So it is entirely likely that if you're a rogue Jedi, you're not going to be able to find Rey between episode 8 and 9. And then after episode 9, once the Resistance and potentially the rest of the galaxy is a little bit more formed, then those kinds of people can find Rey. Because Rey needs a teacher, another teacher. She's 20 years old. She can't go on to continue being a Jedi Master. Like with Luke in the current timeline, like Grogu in a sense is probably his first student, him or Ben Solo, probably Grogu. That's like 7 years after, like 4 or 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi, and he's not really like teaching Grogu actively yet, and he's also a lot more matured. Rey needs a lot more maturity in order for her to be an active teacher to someone. Look for Grogu to show up in The Mandalorian sooner rather than later. Oh, absolutely. Which is kind of upsetting because the ending of season 2 had such a strong impact. That's why I think it was a little bit, not it was a mistake, but I'm a little bit concerned that moment might be undermined. Actually, I'm not sure. I think we'll see Grogu in season 3. I don't think it will be that soon, though. Goldman, you must say you like the prequels for this gonk to pledge your allegiance to you. I'll say I love Revenge of the Sith, and I like Attack of the Clones. I just don't think they're good movies. I don't think any of the 3 prequels are good movies. I don't like Phantom Menace at all. I'm sorry. There's very little I enjoy about that movie. But I can watch Revenge of the Sith. It's the way I review Revenge of the Sith is the same I review Rise of Skywalker. It's a movie I love watching. It's a lot of fun. I just don't think it's a good movie. Let's hope the First Order survived after Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. I did talk about this in my video. The 40-minute video I made about like my what I want like a post-sequel show to be. That is an option. And then I just want them to do a lot more other things with I just hope if they do a post-Rise of Skywalker show that they do it with the characters we know. And they can add new characters, of course, but like at least have Rey and Finn. Like those two, I honestly don't not care about Poe. So if Poe is not in it, that's fine with me. We just need at least Rey and Finn. They don't want Rose. I don't care. If they don't want Janna, I don't care. I don't care about anyone else besides Rey and Finn. Both of them. Like I like Rey more, but I still want Finn to be part of it. I just like the Phantom Menace as well. Me too. Oops. 3 and 9 are genuinely decent movies, Imo. I'm glad you think that. I don't think they're good movies, but I like them both. What do you think if we were to see Palpatine's Sith cult expanded upon? Like if there were once a peaceful race, but Palpatine came and converted them into slaves? That's interesting. The thing is, I don't think we're going to see much of that because Exegol is a big secret. I guess Palpatine or Vader knew. But I feel like Exegol was not founded by Palpatine. I feel like that might have been a Sith place. Maybe they expand upon it in the Acolyte. That would be interesting if the Acolyte does involve the Sith in hiding. Because I feel like the Sith, need a headquarters. And there's also these other Sith lords. Maybe Exegol was the one they went to. I would not mind. I think Exegol, there's a lot of cool things with Exegol they can do. I like the Phantom Menace. I really don't like Attack of the Clones. A lot of people seem to like the Phantom Menace more than Attack of the Clones. I'm the other way around. First Order and New Republic or whatever, and the Jedi versus Grisk. That's the big difference. So I remember Star Wars Only and I have this opinion that we share about the sequels. It's actually one of the few opinions we share about the sequels. The two end very similar. Like the ending of Rise of Skywalker is very similar to Return of the Jedi. That's a fact. They need to differentiate that in some way, and I think the way they do that is how they handle a republic. I'm sorry if post Rise of Skywalker, if they just establish a new republic, that's not going to work. They need to establish some other form of government, whether it be a bunch of like nations or regions, like a confederacy, complete freedom, or all the systems just work independently and trade like that. That is something they have to do. They cannot just do a new republic. The past two republics failed, and so did an empire. So they can't. What if Tor Vallum was a villain in a post-Rise of Skywalker show? I don't really like the concept of Tor Vallum, and here's why. For those of you who don't know, Tor Vallum was, I believe, Plagueis' master in the Duel of the Fates version of Episode 9. And I believe he was believed to be like 10,000 years old or 1,000 years old. The problem I have with that is that 1,000 years before the Phantom Menace was when Darth Bane established the Rule of Two. So if Tor Vallum was Plagueis' master, and he's like 10,000 years old, then that kind of conflicts with that. And say like Tor Vallum was Darth Bane's apprentice, then it just takes a lot of the interesting aspects of the Sith between Darth Bane's Rule of Two and the Phantom Menace. It takes a lot of that away. Because, you know, if you look at the EU, there's a lot of Sith. Like there's, I actually don't know the Sith. There's Tenenbros, I know that. I think there's a Darth Zana or something. My EU knowledge is limited. Yeah, like the Galactic Federation, what I mentioned before. See, I don't really like the Tor Vallum concept. I think they could, if they can make him just not as old, that would be interesting. But no. I wouldn't mind seeing Tor Vallum. They would have to really do some digging with his age. Acolyte will take us to Exegol, I bet you. I hope so. The Exegol is a tough place to CGI, though. I'm not sure how much time they'd spend on it, though. I'm not sure. The new government system could be called the Galactic Alliance, and the whole galaxy is flying together to fight the Grisks. Maybe. I feel like the Grisk conflict, though, and here's the thing. This is what bothers me. There was an interview with Timothy Zahn, who wrote the Thrawn novels that introduced the Grisk. He doesn't know what the future of Star Wars is. And I feel like what they're going to do is between episodes 6 and 7 with this Mandalorian timeline, I feel like that there's going to lead to a big conflict that takes place in the unknown regions that the known galaxy doesn't know about. Because it's established that in the known galaxy, it's a 30-year piece between episode 6 and 7. It's a 30-year piece. So that means there can't really be a big war. So I feel like they're going to fight the Grisks in the unknown region and prevent like a galactic invasion or something. I feel like that's going to happen. I would not be opposed if the Grisks was a threat that was postponed until after episode 9. Or if the Yuzong Vong came. I'm not a big Yuzong Vong fan, but I really like weird stuff like that. I would not mind for them to experiment with things like that. Wasn't J.D. Dillard doing a Star Wars movie set on Exegol? It was rumored in February, but we haven't heard anything else about it. I think it was rumored a long time ago, and there was very little to come from it. So I'm not sure. I think it was rumored by the Hollywood Reporter, which is legitimate, but I'm not sure if we've heard anything else since. Maybe J.D. Dillard was going to do... Actually, I have no clue. In episode 7, the First Order has been a thing for about 5 years, I believe. I think 6, exactly, because I think the First Order... Well, the First Order in the Empire has been a thing since the fall of the Empire in episode 6. It's just when did they come out, if you will, and start planting seeds around the galaxy for the inevitable Starkiller takeover. That's what we don't know. I think at least 6 years. I think they might have waited until Luke left the academy. There's so much they can do with Luke and Ben and what happened. And I would... Hopefully Lucasfilm hires me to tell that story, because I would love to tell that story. I think the color palette for Exegol is cool. I don't think red palette would work. I don't know. I like red a little more, but it's a small complaint. Do you think the Galactic Alliance would allow the First Order to exist, but the First Order becomes democratic? No. I feel like they would have to, at that point, they would have had to learn about the mistakes they made with the Empire and be a lot more strict on that. Oh, by the way, I don't know. I can't tell how many people are like. We've got 54 people right now watching, destroy the like button, please. I am asking you nicely, for not just for me, for Claude. Destroy that like button. It really helps this guy out. Thank you very much for destroying the like button. Thank you. Goldman is going to be president of Lucasfilm. One day. Goldman, I want a post-Rise of Skywalker series to be about the politics of setting up a new government system that everyone can agree on, whether or not to give up more power to planets, basically founding fathers. Yeah. And then here's an interesting thing that I brought up, and this is where I think you could do a really interesting story with Rey. What is the galaxy's view on the Jedi at this point? If you're an average citizen after the events of the Rise of Skywalker, how do you view the Jedi? They were essentially, you can essentially blame the Jedi for Order 66 and the rise of the Empire. A single Jedi was heavily involved in destroying the Empire, but that same Jedi was also involved with the rise of the First Order. And then another Jedi stopped Palpatine, but that last remaining Jedi, if people find out that Rey's related to Palpatine, she's just not going to have the public support. I think that would be a really interesting plot point if the galaxy somehow found out that Rey was a Palpatine, and people stop trusting her. Would you want the granddaughter of the devil, to be leading the Guardians of Peace and Justice? I don't know if I would. I know I would because I know the character of Rey and I like her. But if you're the average citizen, I don't think you would. Sorry. Probably like the nations in Avatar: The Last Airbender and Star Wars. Potentially. That's a little different though, because the nations in Avatar. Oh wait, I think I did something silly. I need to do something real quick. I think. Sorry, I'm just gonna check something real quick. Oh, I just lost 2 subs. Unfortunate. I turned monetization off. Oh well, it's too late. Oh, I just lost like $1. My dad made fun of me for trying to find a cardboard cutout of Claude. You couldn't find one? If you make an Avatar channel, call it the Silverman. Potentially. I love Rey Nobody and Rey Palpatine. I prefer one, but yeah. Why would anyone unsub? I don't know. Not my problem. Folks find out Leia's dad was Vader. Leia's political career went to the pot. Yeah, and Palpatine's worse than Vader, so. During the early years of America, the government put high taxes on whiskey, and there were riots and insurrections in early Pennsylvania. It was known as the Whiskey Rebellion. Washington himself had to quell it. Waiting for comment 2. I actually know a lot about this because I took a class. I'm actually taking a history class on that right now. Fun topic. The new Bronze Man from our 3rd channel. Maybe. We could have something for that with planets in the Outer Rim, in which Rey had to quell a rebellion. Yeah, they could. I would love for them, if they did a post-Rise of Skywalker show, not to have a huge galactic war. Like they could for like a season or 2 or something. Like they resolve the First Order conflict, and then after that point, Rey needs to be involved. Rey and Finn need to get involved in fixing the galaxy. Do you think we'll get a Last Airbender style show for Star Wars? Not sure what you mean by that. Don't forget to smash the like button, of course. No, always remember to destroy the like button. Always remember. Aang versus Luke. I think the Avatar would win. You have to post to your streams on Goldman is Live. It's a great meme material. Updating Goldman is Live is so annoying. It is so annoying. You guys don't understand. Okay, so now moving on. How do the sequels tie in the future of Star Wars? Let's talk about Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron, in some respects, I think is going to tie in with the sequels, and here's why. And say it's obviously the ideal for us is that we want it set after the Rise of Skywalker. That's probably my best case scenario. And it honestly doesn't even at that point need to involve the characters that we know. Like if they do a post Rise of Skywalker show and it doesn't involve Rey, Finn, or Poe, that's fine with me. Would I like if Rey was involved? Of course. I feel like John Boyega would. I feel like Daisy Ridley would be more open to doing it than John Boyega would. Oscar Isaac, there's no chance. Are you ever going to do streams longer for an hour? If I have another person with me, I'd be done. Let's turn of thought. Oh yeah. Thing is with the movies, if you're doing a movie, right? If you're Star Wars and you're putting resources into a movie, I feel like you're gonna have to do something fairly wide in scale. All the movies besides Solo, like Solo was a mistake that I think Disney acknowledges. If you're gonna do a movie, especially since you're doing shows, like if you have shows, I feel like you're telling these smaller stories, which I like, but the movies need to be something big, like the Avengers type movies, where not doesn't have to be team up, but something important needs to happen in terms of the galaxy, right? And I feel like Rogue Squad, like with Rogue One, it tied in directly with Episode 4, and it was also a pretty important battle if you look at the history of the rebellion. Solo would have been much better of a show. Absolutely. I hope that we can see more of Finn, Rey, and Poe. Me too. I just don't think we'll see John Boyega or Oscar Isaac ever again. Rogue Squadron, I think, could be a show, but it's not. And since it's a movie, they're going to do something big for it. There's going to be a multimedia project of some kind. With Mandalorian, we don't really get that. But with movies, if you look at all the movies, there's usually a bunch of books that come out. There's a bunch of comics that come out. There's these visual dictionaries. Speaking of which, it was so dumb that they canceled the Mandalorian one. Solo's a cinematic triumph. I think most people could agree, though, it would have worked better as a show. I think it would have worked much better as a show. I want Jason Sindula to be Force-sensitive pilot in Rogue One. That'd be cool. That would be really cool. I think Poe mentioned the most in Rogue Squadron. We mentioned the most in Rogue Squadron just because he's a pilot. And we're assuming it takes place after The Rise of Skywalker. If it doesn't, then it's definitely going to take place after Return of the Jedi. And in that point, I feel like it would still... I hope that if it takes place after Return of the Jedi, it's not just Rebels versus the Empire. I feel like that would be boring and a waste. I hope Rogue Squadron is set post-sequel trilogy, but I have a strong feeling it will be set either between episodes 4 and 5 or between Return of the Jedi and episode 4. If it's set between episode 4 and 5, I would be so depressed. I don't even think they will be, because you get a lot about Rogue Squadron in the comics. I mean, granted, they could retcon the comics, of course. I just don't think they would. Personally, I want the Old Republic, since the years, or just Sith, give us more Sith than Sith lore. It looks like that's what they're doing with the Acolyte, but there's only so much you can do with the Sith, because there's only ever 2 Sith, unless they want to go way, 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 way back to the Old Republic, which I think they'll do at some point. I really think they will. I think you just gotta be patient. If it doesn't take place after Rise of Skywalker, I'm gonna be mad. I'll be disappointed. I'm not gonna be mad. I'll be disappointed. Why do they have Rogue One and Rogue Squadron? Well, Rogue Squadron is supposedly named after Rogue One. That'd actually be a neat tie-in. There's already too much between 3 and 4. There's no way it's gonna be between 3 and 4, because Rogue Squadron was named after Rogue One, so it can't be between 3 and 4. And there's already between 4 and 5. There's, in terms of like books and comics, that timeline is also pretty cluttered. So hope that's not the case. Solo should get a continuation on Disney Plus, since a lot of fans seem to enjoy it. Heck, I'd be down for a continuation on the big screen, but that's never happened. I don't think Solo is going to continue. They might continue aspects of that story, but I don't think they're ever going to do a Solo 2. It doesn't have the support that like the Snyder Cut did. It just doesn't. Will Lando continue the Solo storyline? I try to block out the memory of the fact that there's going to be a Lando show, so I'm going to ignore this comment. I think they've fleshed out the OT enough. Yeah, if they want to do more OT fleshing out, then do like the Mandalorian era, which is not really even the OT. What are your thoughts on Rogue Squadron after Wonder Woman 84? If you've seen 84, are you still excited for Rogue Squadron? I am. The thing with Patty Jenkins is, for one, she made the first Wonder Woman, which I thought was an excellent film. And two, I think at the core of Wonder Woman 84, there's a good story. It's just the plot was so cluttered and made no sense, it ruined the movie. Like, I think a lot of the emotional beats are really powerful, given the right context. Like, the message that they were trying to send, the scenes with Diana and Steve Trevor, I think those scenes were really well done. And Patty Jenkins is responsible for that. I think she just got carried away with the whole wishing thing, with that wishing stone, and that ruined the movie. That absolutely ruined the movie. But I think there's a lot of good character stuff in Rogue Squadron that gives me more faith. That gives me more faith in in her. Like, I'd rather have a director that wrote a bad plot but had really good characters and like good moments, like the characters could work better. So yeah, I hate both Wonder Woman movies. They both have the same problems. I disagree. The first Wonder Woman is so good. I don't know how you could hate the first Wonder Woman. What if the First Order, the Chiss, the Imperial Remnant, and the survivors of the Sith Eternal decide to unite? I don't know if the Chiss would do that. The Chiss are kind of... The Chiss aren't really evil. That's the thing. Thrawn joined the Chiss or the Empire because he wanted to defend the Chiss. So I'm not sure if that would happen. The Rogue Squadron is set in a future era. Some people may think that means post Return of the Jedi and post Return of the Jedi and before the Force Awakens, but the sequel era has been a thing for 5 years, so I don't think it counts as a future era anymore. That's my saving grace. That's what they mean by future era. Maybe Rogue Squadron is going to lead into some shows that take place after the Rise of Skywalker as well. I don't think Taika Waititi's film is going to be after the Rise of Skywalker. I think they might give him something like the Origin of the Jedi. But we'll have to wait for that. But yeah. Let's see. Let's hope. Thoughts on the Bad Batch? I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I'm not like super hyped about it. But I think it has potential to be great. And if it sucks, it sucks. I won't care. But it has my interest. It has my interest. Really, they've only fleshed out the 19 years between 3 and 9, between 4 and 5. They haven't really fleshed out 5 and 6, but they're doing that right now. And after 6, but still haven't explored much. Yeah, they could do a lot more before Phantom Menace, which I think they're getting into. I think there's a lot more they can do, and they have time. There's no rush to explore all these things. I think they want to focus on certain eras, and then they'll get to other eras in the future. Sorry. I think the potential of a Solo 2 would probably be a gangster movie, Jabba the Hutt, where Solo encounters and is at odds with them all. That sounds awesome. I don't want that. That sounds boring as hell. Considering we know that that sounds really boring. Do you think we'll get a Mandalorian war in season 3, Mando versus Mando? No. I hope Rogue Squadron is post Rise of Skywalker. Me too. Also, if it's set in a future era, and future era means sequels, then it's during the sequels, which I find likely because I don't know what major events they would tackle. It's likely post Rise of Skywalker. That's the hope. And I hope we get clarification on that soon. When's Star Wars Celebration? That's in like 2 years, bro. Or it's in next year. That sucks. We're probably not going to get clarification on the timeline until August of 22. So in 15 months? That sucks, man. That sucks. The only regions are the thing I want to learn the most about in Star Wars now. They're interesting. They're very interesting. I think that's what this Mandalorian era is going to explore. What's your hype level of the Book of Boba Fett? It's like all the way down here. It's like just above the ground. The only reason it's just above the ground is because I like Fennec Shand. If Fennec Shand wasn't, it would be below the ground. Not as small as the Lando show, but is very, very low. You guys know I don't care for Boba Fett at all. I might make a video on this in the future. I'm like the only person who would think like I don't think Boba Fett's inclusion in the Mandalorian season 2 was all that good. Like it was still unnecessary. Was it cool seeing him fight? Sure. I still think it was wildly unnecessary, and overrated. So yeah. What do you speculate the Acolyte will be about? I don't know. I don't really try to do much. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna involve like the Sith. I really don't. The Chiss's enemy are the Sith, so them teaming up with the Imperials and Sith cult makes no sense. Agreed. It's treason then, Goldman. What, about my Boba Fett take? That's probably a hot take. What's your hype level of Lando? It's actually negative. I hope they cancel that show. I sound so dumb. I shouldn't say I hope they cancel it. If they cancel it, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably be actually more happy because that show sounds so dumb. OMG, I can't believe it. Someone hit the dislike button. Don't care. The sequels are going to be decanonized and April 1st confirmed, probably. I didn't really like Boba Fett until I saw Mando. Yeah, that is a hot ass take, my friend. It is, but I mean, I maybe we can have. I would love to debate someone on why Boba Fett. Like, it's funny. I made this video. It was about Darth Maul and why I thought him being resurrected was done so well. And I established 3 rules. What were the 3 rules? It was I know I remember 2. One was, why does this specific character need to be resurrected? Did this character's death have any important narrative impact? And 3, I don't remember. Time to watch an old Goldman video. Exciting. And this will be fun. This is where the fun begins. I need my headphones. I'm not connected to my computer. All right. That's annoying. I'm hearing myself on the iPad now. All right, give me a sec, guys. I'm pulling up my old Darth Maul video. Give me a sec, people. Yeah, because I want to remind myself. Because it's funny, because in the comments of that video, a lot of people said stuff I really disagree with. Unfortunately, history will not see that way, Goldman. That's fine with me. Here we go. It's my third most viewed video, actually. Good for me. That video was awful at first. It did awful. Let me skip the ads first. All right, I am going to share my screen now. Share screen, Chrome tab, share audio. Okay. Okay. So this video is my Darth Maul video. The title is called "How the Clone Wars Saved Darth Maul," and in it I basically talk about. Can you say hi for my sister? Is your sister a Goldman fan? Well, hello, sister of Gabby. Thank you for being a fan. Let's watch this. I made 3 rules in this video. Where was it? Here.
Was forgotten like the second after it happened and served no real purpose other than showing Palpatine's strength. So Kit Fisto would pass.
Did this character's death have a strong narrative purpose? Does this apply to Boba Fett? You know what's funny? I actually use Boba Fett as an example. Here, these are the 3 questions.
Impact the growth of the character now that they're alive.
Okay, here we go. 3 important questions. These are my 3 important questions that determine if a character's resurrection is done well. Question 1, did the character's death have a strong narrative purpose? Question 2, why does this character specifically need to be brought back to life? And question 3, how does the death of the character impact their growth now that they're alive? So does this apply to Boba Fett? I think I actually use Boba Fett as an example here. Here we go. Let's see. I want to see what I say.
In other words, actually just develop the character if you choose to bring them back.
This is funny.
Let's look at a hypothetical example with Boba Fett, given all the rumors going around about him in the Mandalorian.
This is, by the way, this came out in May 14th, 2020, so this was before season 2, so before we knew he was coming back.
I actually feel this is kind of appropriate. For one, I feel Boba Fett actually does pass the first 2 questions of this test, so he is cleared for question 3. And secondly, there are a few ways his return to the Mandalorian could go. One way could be that he returns for like 10 seconds and fights the Mandalorian and dies. If this were to happen, then absolutely nothing would be added to Boba Fett's character other than making him look even more like a bitch. So if this were to happen, then it would fail the 3rd question.
Actually, I don't understand why. It's funny. I don't understand why it passes the 2nd question. Why does this character specifically need to be brought back to life? Why would Boba Fett specifically need to be brought back to life? I feel like... So here's the point I'm getting at. The point I'm getting at with Boba Fett is that the story of The Mandalorian Season 2 does not need Boba Fett specifically to function. The role of Boba Fett could be played by anyone else that is a Mandalorian, really. And like the fact that it was Boba Fett didn't matter, so that's why I'm not a big fan of it. Like it didn't add anything to Boba Fett's character. Now the book of Boba Fett might, but yeah, as of right now, that's why I don't like the Boba Fett dig. That's why I don't care for Boba Fett's return. Because it didn't add anything to the character. He survived. What else do I know about the character now? What do I know more about the character now than I did before? I've learned nothing more. But why not have Boba Fett? Because he died. That's why. It's a character resurrection for fan service. I feel like the 2nd and 3rd question are essentially the same question. Not necessarily. Like for Darth Maul, for example, Darth Maul, did his death have a strong narrative purpose? Not really, to be honest. Question 2, why does Darth Maul was brought back specifically? Because he wanted to get revenge on Palpatine and Obi-Wan. There's no other character that hates both Palpatine and Obi-Wan. So yes, it had to be him specifically. Now, if they just did that and he wasn't really developed anymore, then it would be a waste of time. But with question 3, how does they really expanded on Darth Maul's character in the Clone Wars? The Mandalorian did not expand on Boba Fett at all. It really didn't. So yeah. I would love to make this video one day. Because I don't believe that I don't believe that right now he was saved. I like the cutout in the background. Thank you, Olivia. That is Claude. My boy Claude. What would you do if Disney decanonized sequels? I personally hope it doesn't happen. I would wake up from my dream. It's not gonna happen. I'm a big fan of hypothetical questions, but at a point it becomes where is it realistic, and that's just never gonna happen. For me, it told me Boba Fett had a sense of humor. Boba honors a deal he doesn't have to do for the Mandalorian. I guess fine. He's a little bit more honorable than we thought. That's all we learned about him. So yeah. Don't worry, they aren't being decanonized. They're fake rumors. Yeah. Goldman 22. Why the Kenobi show saved Grievous? That honestly just made me gag a little bit. The EU made Boba, Grievous, and Jango great characters. Potentially. Are you excited for the Book of Boba Fett? No. I feel like I just established this, people. Why do you think some fans want Star Wars to fail just because Disney's in charge? Because they're selfish. What if they did alternate timelines? I'd hate that. I hate the idea of alternate timelines. Do you want a First Order version of Pelion from Star Wars Legends, and he can be mentor figure to Finn? That'd be interesting. They could still have some like Pelion work with Thrawn, and then after the Thrawn loses his war or whatever, Pelion's still alive. Good work. Good work. That doesn't really track though, because Boba is straight up evil in the comics. I wouldn't know. Hey Goldman, what's up? What's up, Comment Star? Wow, it's actually been 56 minutes. I didn't realize it. How can you not be excited for all these Star Wars shows? This is literally my 10-year-old self-streamed. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't get. I'm a big Star Wars fan. Star Wars is by far my favorite hobby ever. But I don't get excited for something just because it has the title Star Wars. I like stories that can expand, explore a new world, expand on a pre-existing character and stuff like that. With Boba Fett, he's just a character I don't care for. It's like if they made a show about Admiral Akbar. Like he's a meme. He's not doesn't really. I don't care if they expanded on Admiral Akbar's character. Like I want them to do new interesting things. And I feel like a Lando show is something I have no interest in, and a Boba Fett show is something I have no interest in. Now, both shows can be great, and I still love that. I'm not saying I want the shows to fail or I think they'll be bad. I'm just not interested. I'm gonna watch them, and I'm gonna hope they're gonna be great. I'm gonna talk about them on the channel. I don't get excited. I don't get excited for something just because of the title Star Wars. Like The Mandalorian, I'm excited because I know the story and I trust the creators. With the Ahsoka show, I know the character and I'm excited because of that. With Rian Johnson's trilogy, I'm excited for that if it does happen. I'm excited for that because I know the writer and I have a reason to be excited. With the Book of Boba Fett and with the Lando show, I have no reason to be excited. I don't care for the writers of either show. I don't even know if there are any writers for the Book of Boba Fett. I don't care for the character. I don't really care for what the supposed plot's going to be of him taking over like the underworld of Star Wars. It could be great. And if it's great, I'm going to come on here. I'm not going to say I'm going to eat my own words. Conceptually, it doesn't interest me, but it can still be great. There's a lot of stories that conceptually don't interest me that I think could be great. So yeah. There's my little rant. Technically, Rey's a master after Rise of Skywalker. No, she's not. Rey better not be a master. She hasn't earned it. She killed Palpatine. That's it. Again, it's a big thing, but Palpatine kind of self-destructed anyway. Are you excited for the Obi-Wan show? Yeah, absolutely. Because with the Obi-Wan show, there's a lot you can do with Obi-Wan between episodes 3 and 4. You can explore his trauma. You can explore what he actually thought about the Jedi. One of my least favorite scene in Revenge of the Sith is when Obi-Wan finds out that Anakin turned. His reaction is the worst. I don't think it's Ewan McGregor's fault. I think that's completely on George Lucas. His reaction is so flat that his brother of 13 years just became evil, and he was like, "This can't be. This can't be. I can't watch anymore." It was such a waste. I want trauma. What does he actually feel? That excites me. Gina Carano firing thoughts. If you're an important person, don't have a Twitter. If you do, almost never tweet on it. That's lesson learned. The Mandalorian made Boba Fett slightly more interesting to me, but I'm still not sold on having his own show yet. I respect that. He didn't make him any more interesting for me. Was it cool seeing him? Like, were those fight scenes cool? Yes, but those fight scenes weren't cool because he was Boba Fett. Like, those were just cool fight scenes. Didn't really add anything to the character. As someone who isn't a big fan of the sequels, the fans that say Johnson's trilogy isn't happening, the Flash movie has been in development hell for over half a decade and it's still happening. Yeah, the only difference, though, is that Lucasfilm might be scared of Rian Johnson and the fans' reaction to a Rian Johnson trilogy. So I think a Rian Johnson trilogy isn't going to happen until there's a more favorable view of the sequels. Which Star Wars era deserves to be fleshed out? They all do, except for the OT. The OT's been fleshed out enough. What Jedi ranking would you give after Rise of Skywalker? I guess a knight. She's not really a Padawan, but she hasn't done much. I mean, she trained with Leia. I guess she would be a knight. She can't be a master. I'm sorry. She needs more training. Well, not just training. She needs to mature as a person more. Rey's still fairly immature. That's the thing. She was an awful friend in The Rise of Skywalker. She still has a temper. There's a lot of things she can work on. And she's nowhere close to being a master. I always arrive when you're about to stop. I can actually go on for a little more. I really have nothing else to do right now. I'm having good dialogue and I like good conversations. Do you want the Snyderverse? Yeah, I'd be down. Disney should stop milking the OG. I agree. Dialogue in Rise of Skywalker is pretty bad. It's mixed. I think there's some cringy dialogue. I think there's some good dialogue. What do you want to see the most in Star Wars right now? I really want to know what happened to Jason Syndulla and Ezra. I want Rian Johnson's trilogy. If I had to have one thing, I'd want that. Or a continuation of the sequel characters. I already love the original trilogy. I have shows that expand on that already. I have the Clone Wars for the prequels. I don't really have a show that expands the sequels. So that or Rian Johnson's trilogy, because I know whatever he makes is going to be amazing. So yeah. LOL. Coleman's saying Rey needs more training. I'm on the training. Is relevant training. The training isn't irrelevant. It's just she didn't need training for what she accomplished in the sequels. The Rise of Skywalker had the coolest visuals in the saga. Nope, Last Jedi did. Nope. I respect your opinion, though. Disney should do more in the prequels era. Sure, the Clone Wars fills a lot of the gaps, but a lot of the gaps have been filled in the OT, and they still milked out of it. I disagree. I think they should move on with the prequels because I guess they could do more Clone Wars stuff, but are they going to fill up between episodes 1 and 2? There's not that much to do between episodes 1 and 2. There's 10 years, but there's not much like that can really happen. So I disagree. All they can do is more Clone Wars stuff. That's really it. What are your thoughts on the original Clone Wars micro series coming to Disney Plus? I'm gonna watch it. I haven't seen it before. The Goldman. Admiral Ackbar was an awesome character in the comic and in the TV show, but bad. But Cloud is good. Last Jedi and Rogue One are the best visuals. I would probably agree with you. They do have good visuals. Both of them do. I think Last Jedi's was a little better, but I think they both have the best visuals. I want High Republic to be fleshed out more. I wouldn't be opposed. I don't really care for it that much, but I'm always down. I just like the way the Rise of Skywalker is shot. Respectable. Have you heard of Warhammer 40K? No. I don't know what that is. Why Star Wars Detours is a masterpiece. Good lord. That would be funny. I feel like I covered a lot of the topics I wanted to cover. We talked about Rogue Squadron a little bit. Oh, this is something I have no interest for. Dr. Afro Show, no interest. One thing I wish they had done better was Kylo Ren's death. Him missing a lot of the final battle, being thrown off a cliff is not that great. I'd agree. I like The Rise of Skywalker, honestly. Me too. Last Jedi has the best visuals overall, but Exegol was cool. I mean, Exegol was cool. I'm not a big fan of the visuals, though. If it weren't for Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker would have been best in terms of visuals, so I agree. I'd still disagree. I think Force Awakens has better visuals than The Rise of Skywalker. But easily, Rian Johnson is just leagues ahead of J.J. Abrams in terms of making beautiful films. I think the Goldman is cool. Thank you. The Rise of Skywalker is my third favorite film. I think it's my seventh. Opinion on the Eye of Webbish Bog. I would have loved to see that. I like weird stuff in Star Wars. I like when Star Wars explores the weird stuff. I'm always against playing it safe. I'm always against playing it safe. Oh yes, the score of the Rise of Skywalker is terrible. The beginning, like the only good parts of the score of the Rise of Skywalker were just like reestablished themes. This really bothered me, and it was one of the things that I didn't know about this reading the leaks. Because I read the leaks of the Rise of Skywalker before it came out. When Palpatine dies and then Pride dies, they play the exact same music of Luke's death. And I knew that the second it happened when I watched Rise of Skywalker the first time. I knew that the second it happened. And I was like, this is so uncreative. I'm like, this music was great for Luke's death. It is awful here. Luke's death was like this triumphant, like sacrifice. And I don't know, just like it's just funny. The end of Luke of the Force theme playing in The Last Jedi, it's like Luke looking at the suns. In the Rise of Skywalker, it's Pride getting blown up. The score is phenomenal, episode 9. I'm glad you love it, but I disagree. Couple memes triggered about how you talk about the Rise of Skywalker score. Listen, I'm a realist. I love the sequels, but they have their faults, especially the Rise of Skywalker, and I'm never going to be fake with you guys. And I'm sure Palpatine memes wouldn't care. Palpatine memes and I can have a great debate. I mean, all Star Wars soundtracks are fine. I mean, Star Wars, it's John Williams. It's just, I think a lot of it was rushed, and I think they could have done a lot more. A lot better. The Last Jedi was the coolest, best-looking blockbuster of the 2010s. It's up there. It's definitely up there. The Last Jedi's. I get your point, though, there. Yeah. Yeah, the sequel store felt too reliant on the OT for me. The prequels have their failings, but it feels more distinct. I disagree with you there. I think a lot of the new themes, like Rey's theme, Kylo's theme, Rose's theme, the Resistance theme, I like a lot of those themes. It might be a little bit over-reliant. Just a little bit. The music is one of the best things in Star Wars. Might be the best, honestly. Shafrillis Productions is a great video on breaking down the scores. Probably. Thoughts on General Pride? I hate him. I hate him because there is no reason why that character cannot be Hux. Literally just make Hux that character. I guess you need someone to be a spy. And you could easily have someone else be the spy. So yeah, no, I disagree. How would you handle the next movies? Would you go ahead in the time and go back? I mean, I would do Rogue Squadron as the sequel to Episode 9, and then I would focus on shows. I would really make a really high budgeted show. I probably wouldn't have movies, or I would do a trilogy after the Rise of Skywalker, something like that. Or at first, I would give Rian Johnson his trilogy and ask him what he wants to do. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, there's still some great themes in the sequels. John Williams is John Williams. After all, the Resistance theme is a bop. Yeah, it's really good. Star Wars has got a manga series. Would you read it? If it was interesting, if it was good, yeah. Busy and can't say right now. I just want to come by and say hi. Thank you, Double A7. I appreciate it. The prequels have the best score, and the originals have the iconic ones, while the sequels are. But Force Awakens is a great one. I think the originals have the best. I mean, especially Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back score is amazing. Thoughts on Luke trying to kill Ben Solo? It was a mistake. He's a human being, and I think it really developed his character really well in The Last Jedi. I'm the spy is the worst dialogue in all of Star Wars. No, the worst dialogue of all of Star Wars is somehow Palpatine returned easily. When I saw that was so bad. Somehow Palpatine returned is such a bad line of dialogue. It is so bad. Will Snoke become a major character in these new shows? I don't think he'll be major, but I think he can play a role. What kind of training do you want to see Rey do after the Rise of Skywalker? I, for one, want to see her learn different techniques from different cultures on the galaxy. Rey doesn't need. I don't think Rey needs training. She needs to mature. She needs to learn more life lessons. Like when I think of what Rey should go through, I think about Korra and the Legend of Korra. Like Korra between seasons 1 and 4 is just a drastically different person, and Rey needs to go through that kind of development. I think Rey just needs to go through experiences that give her a better view on the world or the galaxy and have her mature as a person. So if that's training, I guess, I think that's the term. She doesn't need training. She just needs more maturity. She needs to grow as a person and learn a lot more about life, because she's 20 years old in the Rise of Skywalker. She spent 19 years of his life fighting by herself, being alone on Jakku, and she spent 1 year training and being scared. So yeah, she has a lot she needs to work on. Oscar Isaac looked like he was trying not to laugh when he said that line. God, that line was so bad. Hux being a spy makes sense, but OMG was executed terribly. Yeah. It's like one of the only. It's like it's funny. Hux being the spy is actually like the only like one of the most consistent character arcs in the whole sequels. Which Legends character would you like to see become canon? I guess Revan. I mean, I don't know KOTOR, but I think he has a good story. From what I've heard. I don't think the somehow line is that bad because how would a pilot be able to understand the Force resurrection? It was just such a lazy way. Like when I heard that line, what I thought was the JJ and Chris Terrio just don't want to explain how he came back, so they just need to have someone say somehow Palpatine returned. God, that was so bad. That was so bad. I think it's the worst line of dialogue in all Star Wars. I really do. I think it's worse than I Don't Like Sand. Easily. Yeah, Oscar looks like he's the hostage of JJ. It's weird because the sequel actors, they love JJ and they don't care for Ryan, which I don't understand, but yeah. Do you think Rey should just create a new Jedi Order or change the way the Jedi work and allow love, etc.? Yeah, I think she needs to. She would create a new Jedi Order in a sense. I think she would drastically revamp the Jedi. I think the biggest difference between like the Legends timeline and this is that in the Legends timeline, Luke learned those lessons, while in the canon, Luke didn't learn those lessons, and Rey's going to learn those lessons from Luke. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. The Rise of Skywalker is much more enjoyable when you get over the fact that Palpatine is back. I would agree. Do you think the Colin Trevorrow script is real? Have you read it? What do you think? Oh, it's real. Colin Trevorrow is confirmed in itself. I think it's real. I'm gonna do a read through of that one of these days. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, maybe. The Jedi Order has flaws and needs to change. Even Luke realized that. Yeah. Palpatine tied in all the plots of those ends in episode 9. I made the saga feel cohesive. In a sense. I think if Palpatine's return was better executed, like it was planned out more, then I think it could have succeeded in this. I just disagree with the way it was executed. May the Force be with you. Thank you, Gabby, for tuning in. And thank you to your sister for, I don't know her name. Do you think the sequels will be viewed more positively if episode 9 was Duel of the Fates? It's hard to say. The execution of Duel of the Fates, it would depend on that. Do you think it was a mistake to kill Snoke in The Last Jedi, given they just brought back Palpatine as a Skywalker? No, I think if they wanted to set up Palpatine in the current story, I think it could have went really well. How do you think Legends Luke would react to the canon timeline? I don't know. I don't know much about Legends Luke, so I can't answer that. I like some aspects of Duel of Fates, but some of it is pretty wild. I like pretty wild, to be honest. I really do. I disagree. All right, guys. I think I'm going to end it here. Unless you guys have any more burning questions about the sequels or anything else. Somehow Jar Jar has returned. Good Lord, I'd shoot myself. I think it was set up well enough, though. Rey went straight to the dark, which set up her being a Palpatine, and Snoke died, paving the way for another big bad takeover. All right, I'm going to after I address this comment. This is the last comment I'm addressing. I feel like being related to... That's the thing. Being related to someone shouldn't affect how light or dark you are. Like, Luke is related to Darth Vader, but we don't see hints of him being evil until Return of the Jedi. Same thing with Leia. So, like, I don't like that, like, Rey having a dark side to her hints that she's related to Palpatine. I don't like that logic of the Force. I don't like that how that works. Her being powerful makes sense, but her being like related to the dark side, and that's the thing with the lightning too. Like, you know, that's not how I view the lightning. The lightning that she used, I don't see that as her being related to Palpatine. I see that as her just being immature, not being able to control her emotions, and needs to mature as a person. That's my big thing with Rey, is that she's immature and she needs to mature a lot. So yeah, that's my take on Palpatine. But yeah, I'm gonna bounce now. Thank you, Star Wars Re-Edited, for the fun question. Now I'm actually gonna leave. No more questions besides this one. Jar Jar needs to come back. No. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure you destroy the like button if you haven't already. It really helps this guy out. Don't forget to unite I just screwed up. Don't forget to unite the Cloud Squad, and I will see you guys next time.